In the 1864 Atlanta campaign, Major General Sherman led Union forces across 100 miles of rugged North Georgia terrain toward the Confederacy's industrial heartland. Engaging 180,000 troops over 17 grueling weeks, this war of attrition decided the Confederacy's survival and the pivotal 1864 presidential election. Part of Grant's 1864 grand strategy, Sherman's offensive targeted Atlanta, the South's vital industrial hub. Rather than just capturing the city, the goal was to destroy the enemy army and resources. Severing Atlanta's 4 critical rail lines would cripple Confederate supply routes and logistics across the South. Major General Sherman's 110,000 Union troops, comprising the armies of the Cumberland, Tennessee, and Ohio, confronted General Johnston's 53,800 Confederate defenders. Outnumbered 2-1, Johnston adopted a defensive posture, utilizing prepared earthworks to stall Sherman's advance while preserving his smaller Army of Tennessee and cavalry forces. Sherman utilized a 4-step dance of maneuver to bypass Johnston's fortifications. Union forces pinned the Confederate front while executing wide flanking marches to threaten the railroad in Johnston's rear. To avoid being trapped, Johnston repeatedly retreated south. This strategy kept casualties low while steadily advancing toward Atlanta. From May to mid-June 1864, Sherman pushed south along the Western and Atlantic Railroad. He successfully flanked Johnston out of Rocky Face Ridge, crossed the Oostanoola River after the Battle of Resaca, and engaged in sharp fighting around New Hope Church. This balanced aggressive maneuvering also protected his vital 100-mile supply line. Frustrated by rain and mud, Sherman abandoned flanking maneuvers on June 27, 1864. Ordering a direct frontal assault at Kennesaw Mountain. The entrenched Confederates at the dead angle inflicted massive Union casualties. Realizing frontal assaults were suicidal, Sherman quickly pivoted back to flanking, crossing the Chattahoochee River. After General Johnston retreated across the Chattahoochee River into Atlanta's inner defenses, Confederate President Jefferson Davis fired him on July 17. Davis replaced Johnston's cautious, defensive strategy with the costly aggression of Lieutenant General John Bell Hood, who was expected to immediately strike Sherman and save the city. On July 20, the Battle of Peachtree Creek marked Hood's first tactical sortie. Seeing an opportunity when Sherman split his armies, leaving Thomas's Army of the Cumberland isolated north of Atlanta, Hood sought to crush them before they could entrench. He ordered Hardee's, Stuart's, and Cheatham's corps to launch an aggressive attack as the Union forces crossed the creek. On July 22, Hood launched his second sortie at the Battle of Atlanta, ordering an exhausting night march to strike McPherson's exposed left flank. Though Union commander McPherson was killed, a fierce Federal counterattack restored the line. The assault cost the Confederates 5,500 casualties, crippling Hood's offensive capacity. On July 28 at Ezra Church, Hood launched his third sortie, sending General Lee to intercept Union forces cutting the railroad. Lee's repeated, unsupported frontal assaults against entrenched Federal troops resulted in a slaughter. Losing 4,600 men, Hood's 10-day toll reached 11,000, shattering his army's offensive capability. In August 1864, Sherman laid siege to Atlanta, which was protected by a 10-mile ring of formidable fortifications built by enslaved laborers. Unwilling to repeat Kennesaw Mountain, Sherman bombarded the city but realized he must sever its final logistical railroad to destroy Hood's army. In late August, Sherman pulled his army south to Jonesborough to sever the Macon and Western Railroad, Hood's last lifeline. Hardee's desperate Confederate defense was repulsed by Union forces. By August 31, the tracks were destroyed, meaning Atlanta could no longer be held. On the night of September 1, a cut-off General Hood ordered the evacuation of Atlanta. Retracting Confederate troops destroyed 81 ammunition-loaded boxcars, causing massive explosions. The following morning, Mayor Calhoun formally surrendered the city to advancing Union forces. By September 3, Sherman triumphantly telegraphed Washington, "Atlanta is ours," and fairly won. The Atlanta campaign broke the Confederacy through 3 profound shockwaves. Militarily, the South permanently lost its largest logistical and manufacturing center outside Richmond, severing the Deep South. Politically, this victory boosted Northern morale, securing Abraham Lincoln's landslide re-election. Strategically, it initiated total war, freeing Sherman for his devastating march to the sea. On September 4, Sherman issued Special Field Orders No. 64, dividing the occupation of Atlanta, East Point, and Decatur among his armies. He ordered civilian evacuations to strip the city's military utility and granted troops a month's rest to prepare for a fine winter's campaign, closing a 17-week ordeal that cost 70,000 casualties.